Audio. See, that's why I love having you guys here. But yeah, so right now I'm kind of doing this blind because I don't have for some reason I can't see the monitor. But if you guys can see me, which I'm also running the stream right here, so I can kind of monitor it. But what the hell, man? What everything was fine. I showed up here 5:30, doing everything, trying to get everything all in line. And then, of course, right before everything goes live, my screen that I'm usually monitor myself on went black. Welcome to the after show, everybody. Episode number 306. It's your boy D, and I am here for a fun episode. Andrew's asking me if I why are you wearing a jacket in Yuma in the summer? Andrew, it's only 92 degrees today. It's basically winter. So yeah, I know Andrew's asking why Andrew Sims, because both of the Drews are here. It wouldn't be the after show without the Drews here. But Andrew's asking, did I do my homework? And I'm wondering what that means. I put some in the chat, but I try to put some, but I had a typo. But what the hell are you talking about, Andrew? Let me hear. But anyway, I do have a lot of things to talk about, if that's what you're talking about. It's Tuesday afternoon, evening, depending on where you're at, and we've only had one show. Listen to EPMD. Oh crap. Yeah, I did, and they were good. Yeah. It's like you were my teacher and I had to lie to you. Oh my goodness. All right. I know, damn. All right. Well, anyway, today's Tuesday. Usually by now we would have two shows, but Covino and Rich were off Monday. And then Tuesday, we only had a Rich show. Rich was joined by Gabe, which is cool. But no Covino. So somebody that watches Covino and Rich on Patreon and Fox Sports Radio, that's 4 shows for me without Covino. And or 2, 3, they didn't do one yesterday. Well, actually, there's 4 shows that there should have been. No Covino, so I do miss. I miss Covino when he's gone. Yeah. So anyway, here we are. Gabe sat in. Let me know what you guys think about Gabe in the chat. Let me know if you liked him, if you hated him. Are you having withdrawals? I'm having withdrawals. Covino withdrawals. And you want to hear the gayest thing ever? So freaking, I'm watching Fox Sports Radio. And I check it out on YouTube, right? I like the interaction, right? You are even just like with Wes and everybody in the chat. But during the commercials, since they don't play their typical Fox Sports Radio commercials, they've been playing clips, right? From previous episodes or overpromised or whatever. And I had the gayest thought. So, and I mean this in the old school way of really gay. So they played a clip from like last week, and I was like, it's kind of good to hear Covino's voice. It was comforting, right? But yeah, I was kind of like, dang man, I missed him. What up, Funky Monkey? Funky Monkey's here too. Yeah. Gabe did a great job, is what the feedback is saying. Gabe's great. His guest Rich kept trying. Oh, so Gabe was great, and his guest Rich kept trying to steal the show. I agree. You know what? I wish there were more Carls that had podcasts. Like before I jumped on here, while I was trying to work everything out, I was checking out EJ Reed and Rucker. Right? They do Boot to the Face, where they talk about pro wrestling. They talk about what is it? Like usually like UFC, things like that. I don't watch pro wrestling. I haven't since like 99, but just to support them and check them out and kind of hear, because they go off on on tangents, kind of like we do here. And it's just cool. So for me, it's like seeing friends, doing their thing. And my buddies, whenever I have buddies that like I grew up with or whatever, and they check out the show, they'll hit me up afterward and they'll be like, "Hey, bro, that was cool. It felt just like we were kicking it. Oh, it was so cool. Whatever, whatever." And I'm always like, "Damn, man! Like, I wish some of the people I grew up with had shows I could check out, because that is cool. Like, and these people that are hitting me up are some of my best friends. I wish that they had something that I could check out and have that same feeling, like we're just kicking it. So I wish some of you guys would do a show, not even Covino and Rich, not even Covino and Rich related, just some kind of show to check out. It's cool to see your guys' opinions on things and just what you're into, whatever the show may be. I'm still waiting for that show that Lisa's gonna do where she's singing in her car for 2 minutes and just posts clips. I'd love to see that. Yeah, yeah, I would like to see that. I would like you guys to jump on here, whenever you can, and we'll work that out. I think it'll be fun. So, yeah, after show, but later. I know we haven't checked out Overpromised in a while, and that's what I was doing. It was fun for a while. So, let me know in the chat. There's a few things I have on my notes. But let's check out Covino and Rich. We haven't watched Overpromised in a while. And then let me know in the chat. I'm not listening. I'm not interesting enough to have a show. That's a bunch of BS. Both of you Drews that are saying that, because I thought about that, or actually earlier. So I got home from work. I was trying to make my daughter something to eat real quick before I jumped on. I had to come set up. And I was like, I appreciate the people that jump on, because I had the same thought about I'm not interesting enough. I'm like, it's not like I'm freaking the most handsome person you've ever seen in your life, right? I'm not the most charismatic person. And so for you guys to jump on and chill with me, for this hour on your Tuesday that you could be doing pretty much anything else, I love it and I appreciate it. So I think it's be a podcast about not being interesting. See, Funky Monkey, right? Like Seinfeld, the show that's about nothing. And they pitched their show to NBC called Jerry. It was the show about nothing. So why couldn't you guys just be the show about being boring, right? Call it the Drews. Call it the Drews Ordinary Life. I'd check that out, right? And you know why I think it would be interesting is because I think about like even people like Kelvin Gastelum, right? He's a UFC fighter. He's from here. He's from my hometown. And so it's funny when you see his mom at like the dollar store or freaking Walmart or whatever, and just being a normal person, just living her normal little life. And you always think people are doing crazy. Like, man, if my kid was Kelvin Gastelum, I'd be freaking always doing this and this or whatever the case. So I think there's something to be said about normal people, not quote unquote, not interesting. And, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Andrew. But I think there's something to be said about people, quote unquote, not being interesting, because people will relate to it, right? Like if I'm watching a show about people, oh man, my jet, blah, 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 and it was low on oil or whatever, right? That's how poor I am. I can't even fake talk about jets. So if you guys had a show about, hey, Drew, what's going on, Drew? Hey, Drew. And then you guys are talking about, today, blah, 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 blah. I had to put out this fire. I had to chase the kids around. We'd be like, oh, I had to put out a fire, a metaphorical fire. I had to put out a fire in my, in my family or whatever's house or whatever. But then you kind of relate. I think the best podcast that I like, there's two things that I dig. And I thought about this the other day about what really hooked me about Covino and Rich. Two things. They're ordinary dudes, even though they do all this really cool stuff and they're able to kick it with the celebrities and, hanging out at Fonzie's house and freaking whatever. And they seem like genuinely good people. So I think those two things right there are what has hooked me for as many years as it has, is that they seem very just hanging out with them, interacting with them. They're very down to earth and they're just genuinely good people, right? You don't see anything on the news about TMZ, Rich Davis, Dana Whited his wife, or was on that John Jones, booger sugar or anything like that. It's just they're normal dudes living a normal life. They have cool jobs, but they're just normal people, some normal good dudes. Let's check out. I don't know if you guys have checked out Overpromise from this week, but let's go ahead and see what's going on.
Look at me hanging with you doing Overpromise.
That's right.
As if I'm caring about anything other than the Mets Cubs right now.
Spawn, are you insinuating we're ass?
Oh, I was insinuating nothing of the sort. Might be ass.
Is that a tease of what's to come?
Just read it from top to bottom. Covino Rich might be ass.
Oh. We'll get to that later on. We have an action-packed showgram program for you. Welcome to our bonus pod, Overpromised, Covino and Rich. Fox Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 5 to 6.
So Andrew Fournier French is saying he's so tired of hearing about the Mets. I'm tired about hearing about the Mets, the Yankees, Aaron Judge, and the other dude for MVP. Baseball is like my least favorite sport as far as like mainstream. So I do not want to be talking about anything until mid-October, right? Mid-October, I'll be down, right? Late October, I'll be hella down. But for them to be talking about the Yankees and the Mets for the last few months, but as Covino has said in the past, if you don't like it, you can do your own show, and that's why we're here. The Red Sox beat the Yankees. Covino must be crying right now. I don't know what that means, Andrew. Does that mean that they're out? They're not going to the playoffs? I know I heard something about wild card. I don't know if it was the Yankees and Red Sox. Let me know. I know Rich was complaining on Fox Sports, so let's go ahead and see what else they have to say.
7 on the East, 2 to 4 on the West. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on our new YouTube page. If you're just listening, definitely subscribe for free to our new YouTube page. You can actually stream our Monday through Friday show. Everything's there. It's Covino and Rich FSR on YouTube. We're going to talk about who's ass. Who might be ass?
I like some ass.
Maybe it's you.
I got a parlay. I got a teaser. I got a straight bet. I got all your gambling needs.
You have a big
Andrew, you're in the Northeast, right? Fournier. So that's why you're saying you're gonna have happy coworkers tomorrow, right? So yeah, people over here, there's a gang of Dodger fans here. You know how many Mexicans I live near. Best of 3 wild card series. Red Sox up 1-0 in the series. Oh, okay. So and what I think Rich officially lost the bet to Covino, right? So if Rich officially lost the bet to Covino, I mean, even if the Yankees are out right after, then I mean, I guess he Covino, whatever, you know what I mean.
big giant head too.
Yes,
and
I do.
things that used to mean something that really don't mean a whole lot nowadays.
All right.
But have you ever been done dirty in a pic? That's
Done
our
dirty.
first question. Done dirty. Have you been done dirty before?
I have. You have. We all have. But this story,
Someone tags you in a terrible picture. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do
Have
this?
you ever
story
been done?
fascinates me.
They're asking, have you ever been done dirty by a pic? You mean any picture I've ever taken that wasn't taken by me? You know how many pictures I had to come out in, and the freaking Covino and Rich DBC CRC 20, whatever the hell they're calling it this week, where there's a picture that a couple of pictures that stand out to me. One was me, El Cucuy, and Funky Monkey, right? El Cucuy looking nice and trim and thin, Funky Monkey looking beautiful, and there's me. There's I am right there, looking all blobby. And that's after I had dropped already like 40, 50 pounds. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my, and then I see a picture with me, Covino, Rich, and Spot, right? And I was just like, oh my. So not done, I guess not done dirty by a pic, but done dirty by all pics. Done dirty by Jesus, I guess. Or not really Jesus, more like McDonald's, right? But if it's not me taking the picture, and that was the cool thing about meeting Topanga and the Boy Meets World people, right? Eric Matthews, Sean Hunter, was that the person grabbed your phone to take pictures, and they were like, like 50 million pictures, right? Of course, I hated the freaking pictures after I saw them because I was like, damn it, why'd I wear this stupid ass jersey? I could have looked so much cooler if I would have went just plain black tee. Damn, that would have been so cool. Topanga would have been wanting it. And I was like, oh, but you know what though? At least there was, usually if you're posing with friends and stuff like DBC, hey, let's take a picture. I'm pretty sure I got a picture with Andrew, right? And then you look at it and everybody just takes like one or two. And then you have to live up to the, if it was up to me, it'd be like, oh, cool. All right, couple like this. Let me stand up a little bit straighter, right? It would be so, but anyway, Andrew Sim says, me too. My CRC pick with you and Kukui, and with Covino, Rich and Spot. I don't like how. So Andrew saying the picture with us and with him and Covino and Rich. He says, I don't like how I came out. Is that just across the board how everybody feels? Because I don't know. Unless you're rich or I feel like I don't feel like I know Covino scrutinizes himself, because when we had a hangout in Tempe, we were at this rooftop lounge, right? Wes was there, Bree was there, Nico was there, Covino, Rich, Spot, Tim, Titaluski, Schwabiski, freaking Chris Chavez was there. Everybody was there. And I look over at Covino. He has his phone. And dude's like this. He has his phone. And he's straight up like zooming in to like a picture that somebody had posted. But he's zooming in on himself. So I wish I didn't have those insecurities. And I bet you I could be rock status buff and I would still have those insecurities. Somebody like Rich doesn't have those insecurities. I don't think Mauser has those insecurities. I don't think Eddie or DJ has those insecurities. But there's just, I feel like a majority of people, you see a picture that you didn't take and you didn't have final say-so over. You know, actually, I had to record some stuff this weekend. I had to edit a video for some friends. They're doing an event and we had to do some kind of behind the scenes promo, blah, blah, blah. So I'm there recording, whatever. And before we left, she's like, hey, let's all take a picture. And so it was me and 3 chicks that are in shape and not me, right? So it was the 4 of us, me and 3 thin chicks. And I'm over here looking all gigantic. But I'll be honest, I look pretty damn good in that picture. So if all of them could come out like that, I'd be stoked. I thought I looked terrible, but my husband didn't. He didn't think he looked terrible. Because if he was there and I missed him, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, let me see. I was in my Carhartts going to work 9 a.m. when I met them in Boston. My posture sucks, and I didn't realize it until I see pictures. You know what? There was another thing that I noticed was after going through all of the Covino and Rich pictures from the CRC. I don't know if it's something that I've talked about here, but I know I was talking to my sister about it, and she's like, yeah, brother, you do that a lot. My sister's not Hulk Hogan, but I freaking 90% of the pictures behind the scenes of Covino and Rich, I'm like this. I don't know if it's just like a nervous tick or if it's just not even a nervous tick. It's what body language experts call a pacifier, right? You give a baby a chupon and it chills them out, right? It's pacifying. So I think that's what I do sometimes, not even out of like nerves or just, it's just comforting. Like I kind of feel like I'm giving myself a hug or something, but I think it stemmed from like my freaking neck and my shoulder hurting. And then it just turned into like a tick. Tall ass handsome Gabe took my picture with Covino and Rich. That should be illegal. You know what? I thought handsome Gabe was actually I don't know if it's because he lost weight for the CRC, but I was like, I've known handsome Gabe as far as like through social media and stuff. And then I was like, handsome Gabe got a little thick. You know, I thought for a minute, you know, from one thick guy to another. I mean, I'm thick, you know, he's thick, but fuck it, I'm fat. Okay, so anyway, I saw Handsome Gabe. When I seen him at the CRC, I'm like, damn, he's a thick dude, but he's fucking like he's a handsome dude, right? He's not fat by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, so he took your picture and then he co-hosted Covino and Rich today. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out any more.
Because
or a little more.
I'm sure there was an approval process here. It's just a bad look.
It's terrible, but we can all relate because you've taken one pick and it haunts you the rest of your life. Well, the 76ers did Jared McCain dirty in a picture that went viral.
Oh, this one's
he's sitting
funny.
there posing in front of a bench press, but on that bench press are 2.5 pound weights. Look at this, 2.5 pound weights. So that's a total of 50 pounds. 45 pound bar, 5 pounds, 50 pounds. He's benching 50 pounds. The only guy I know that lifts less than that is this guy, Rich Davis, and his Pee Wee Herman workout.
That is hilarious.
Rich Davis uses the pink weights on the in the weight section.
You guys bust my balls because I said occasionally I'll do shoulder presses or certain arm workouts with 15s to start. And you're like, 15s?
How do I pause
this guy's
that is so damn funny because they had to have done that on purpose. They had to have taken this picture on purpose because, come on now, everybody knows. Even if okay, I have a question. That had to be on purpose because obviously it's a photo shoot. He's not lifting, right? He's not actually curling, you know, bench pressing, whatever. He's not doing that at all with that bar. So for a photo shoot, you're gonna load up 2.5 pound weights on the photo shoot. Definitely, there is somebody was trying to pull it on him. 15 pounds is embarrassing. Andrew, are you talking about Rich's workout with 15 pounds? Because, yeah. What about, oh no, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Let's check it out.
NBA player, and they got 2.5 pound weights.
I know, it's embarrassing.
Who approved this?
I know.
Even if he was actually working out with 15-pound weights, wouldn't visually you try and depict it a little? I'd even take a 45, like 145.
Bro,
the base 145.
That's 135. That's a good warm-up sort of
Gym
set.
math.
Yeah, 50 pounds. Who's benching 50 pounds? That's the weakest shit ever. And it went viral. Everybody was clowning him. He actually responded. He had some fun with this. So Jared McCain responded, and he was doing the Rich Davis workout. There they are. Also known as the Pee Wee Herman morning workout.
That's funny. I didn't know he did that.
And things like this make you.
That's funny that dude did that. Like, I mean, obviously they somebody tried to screw him, but the fact that he was a good sport about it is cool.
The wind out of a joke if you play along.
Oh, absolutely.
And now if he was like, oh, God damn it, guys, I'm strong.
Right.
Then this would go on forever. But now I look at him like, yo, he's a really funny dude. So
To be fair, though, if you're lifting lightweight, maybe you're
more like 2B1,
recovering
right?
from an injury, you're rehabbing. I get it. There's
or you
reasons.
are doing the Pee Wee Herman workout.
Or you're just really lifting light for whatever reason. But it got us thinking of other picks where athletes got done dirty. And the first one that comes to mind is the Tom Brady Combine. Because this one just never stopped showing up.
No, it's
haunted
not-
him his whole career.
It's not so much that
You know-
he looks bad.
You know what's funny about the Tom Brady Combine picture is that let's look at a different angle from it. Is that he, you know, it's a picture that haunts him to this day. I would give my something very precious to me that's part of the package. I give one of the Huevos over here to look like Tom Brady in that combine picture for 1 second. And it's funny how one person's like I'm over here complaining about pictures, right? And I look gigantic and this and this. There's this dude I used to work with, right? Easily like at least 900 to 1,000 pounds. And I know dude would be looking at my pictures being like, dog, stop complaining about that, right? Because his pictures, every one of them, he looks like Peter Griffin ate Peter Griffin. But it's just funny because it's all perspective, you know?
That's the Michael Jordan cry face. Michael Jordan? They did him so dirty with that cry face everywhere. All over social media. Poor Michael Jordan.
And you know he acknowledges it because at the late, great Kobe Bryant's service, he said, I'm going to try to keep my stuff together. I'm going to try to keep my shit together.
You know what? I had a thought. This has nothing to do with this, but they mentioned Michael Jordan. I was thinking about Michael Jackson earlier, and I was like, damn, it's been 16 years since that fool died. And I was like, so many things have changed, right? Obviously, I don't think he would still be putting out hits or whatever. So his popularity, I think, would go down a little bit. So in today, there's people like I Show Speed, right? And I was like, that dude, I saw a clip recently where he's walking through somewhere. He's on a pier or something. And you would think that the freaking Beatles have just came to America for the first time. People are surrounding this dude, and if you're not familiar with him, he's a streamer. He does, I think he does like reactions. He games. He does stuff like that. If that dude is walking down the street, and 2025 Michael Jackson is walking down the street, blanket. I don't think Michael, I mean, obviously Michael's a legend. He's crazy as far as like crazy famous. But in 2025, is there anybody from like our generation that I know like she wasn't that big, like Madonna wasn't that big, but I'm thinking of like somebody that couldn't go outside, a Brad Pitt or whoever. Even though like Brad Pitt stayed relevant, it's not, I don't think, as crazy as it was obviously in the early 2000s, late 90s, right? But so I'm thinking Michael Jackson, 2025 Michael Jackson, is he able to go to Trader Joe's and be like, yeah, let me have some avocados, you know? Or are they still going to bombard him because there's so many people our age, right, and older that are like, oh, I used to have a crush on Jackie, right? Like, I forget which one of my aunts used to like Jackie Jackson, but the older chicks like Jackie, right? And oh, I remember Little Michael, right? So would they trip and be like, oh my God, and swarm him like he's in sync in 2001? Or would he be able to go to Walmart and be like, I need to get some new white socks? Or it crossed my mind earlier because I was like, the 2021 celebrity is not 2021. Oh my goodness. Just had a 4-year reset. A 2025 celebrity isn't the same as a 1995 celebrity, right? Or even a 07 celebrity. A 2025 celebrity is so much different as far as, it's crazy because his kids, right? Paris, Prince, Prince either just got married or just got engaged, but Paris, Prince, Blanket, right? Prince and Blanket, they had a podcast. I see Prince all the time doing things in LA, like on Instagram. He rides motorcycles. He's out taking pictures with people. He does a lot of charity events. And obviously Prince isn't Michael, but he's still Michael Jackson's kid. You would think like people would be crazy, like, oh shit, there's Michael Jackson's kid. I would be like, oh shit, dope, right? But I trip out. I'm like, how would Michael Jackson's celebrity be in 2025? He would need high security. He would never have a low level of fame. He would still be super popular. And that's the thing, is that my love of pop music comes from Michael Jackson. Like I was the biggest Michael Jackson fan growing up. Biggest you could ever think of. And thinking about now, I mean, when he was going to do the This Is It tour, right? He was going to do it in the O2 Arena. This is it. I'm not going to tour no more, whatever. Even if that would have been like huge, here we are 16 years removed from that. So as much as I like him, and I know he would always be gigantic, shutting down Times Square and blah, blah, blah. Even in 01, when he released Invincible. He released Invincible, the album. It's the one that's like a gray and white cover of like a silhouette of his face or whatever. When he released that, they shut down Times Square because people were going crazy. That was 01, right? That was after certain allegations, before other allegations, hadn't put out a record since History, and even History was kind of a greatest hits. So I'm like, would he be able to go to Mervin's? Does Mervin's still exist? I don't know. I miss Captain EO. You know what, Funky Monkey? Me too. Captain EO, the Jacksons an American Dream. Just anything related. Actually, you know what? I would say anything related to Michael, but they made a movie about Michael with Flex Alexander, and it was terrible. Do you guys remember that? Did anybody see that besides me? That was a terrible movie. Or what about The Wiz? Do you remember The Wiz? Oh, man. I never wanted to be black in my whole life more than at that moment. But yeah, anyway. Fame in 2025, I'm wondering how Michael Jackson would do.
It's out there.
And
Why don't you cry about it?
another time where an athlete got done dirty is your boy. And I loved it, though. I loved it. Your boy,
It's my boy.
Juan Soto.
Dude, this was a bad angle. Juan Soto is not a fatso.
You remember when Juan Soto was putting on the Mets jersey and he was there and he was like 6 months pregnant? Remember that? I loved that as a Yankees fan at the time.
He just had a big lunch.
You know what sucks about that is that Juan Soto probably did do something where he was bloated for some reason, right? Like that looks like straight up like he like some kind of gastrointestinal freaking disorder or bloat or something. That doesn't look normal. So it could have been very well that he had too much bread or something, right? I know I look at a freaking piece of bun and I'm over here, right? And I mean I got a lot of GI stuff going on, right? They can just call me GI Joe. So I look at that and I'm like, ah, man, is it just kind of a beer belly or is it just a bad angle? Again, pictures that did people bad.
He went to Carmine's.
I could be he. I could be he.
Why could
Get
be
some
he?
street meat.
He was just at the Shake Shack. And of course, that makes me
look at that
think.
thing.
I know. Look at that.
You mean the best player in baseball in the
So Andrew Sims says, you would still rush in sync if you saw them today. Rush? I can guarantee you I wouldn't. Like I wouldn't be running after a limo or I wouldn't. But if I saw the 5 of them together in 2025, I would be stoked, right? And I might, what would be cool is I could walk up and be like, ladies, right? Because obviously there's going to be a gang of ladies there. Ladies, hey, kick back, all right, everybody? Justin, Chris, JC, Joey, Lance, they need to breathe. All right, back up a little bit. Hey, bro, can we get a selfie? You know? So I could just get way up in there. I don't have to be crazy. I could act like I'm security, right? Be like, yo, ladies, we know you want to see them. All right, one at a time or all together? You know? So anyway.
Look, he had a great season, but that was a terrible, unflattering picture where they did him dirty. But it makes me think of Patrick Mahomes, too, because it's always, look how soft he is. He's the GOAT. He's the guy.
Bod. He's got the dad bod.
He became the poster boy for dad bods everywhere because he's not as ripped as you would think he is.
Well, again, if you watch Quarterback.
Man, you guys did me dirty.
If you watch Quarterback on Netflix, you realize he's so pliable and flexible and it's no, he does
clay.
But if you've seen his workout, it has nothing to do with weight training. He is bending in all weird positions so that he could get crushed by, like a Max Crosby and survive. So
yeah, it doesn't affect it.
You know what I tripped out about? So they're talking about Quarterback on Netflix, whatever, right? There was the show on Netflix about, was it called like Starting Five or something? And it was about basketball players. So Anthony Edwards, whenever they showed Anthony Edwards, right, he's going to get his haircut, he's playing Xbox, he's with his family or whatever. Whenever they're showing him going to get his haircut, and they line him up, and then I was like, man, you mean these black dudes always do that shit? So, you know how, was it Carlos Boozer that people used to make fun of that had the sprayed on hair that was like straight up just like tattooed, it looked like? They're giving Anthony Edwards a haircut, and I guess freaking all black dudes do this shit because then my lady's homie Christian gets his haircut and they line him up, right? And then they grab the little liner upper and then spray the little, like, right, make it look all dope. And I was like, Anthony Edwards is like 22, and this fool's over here getting lined up and then just to fill it in, make it look like, I guess, like a little thicker, a little, not even thicker, but just more defined, right? When they're boxing them out and all that. And I'm like, dang, black dudes do that at any age? I just thought it was once their hair starts thinning a little bit, right? Because everybody used to bag on Steve Harvey for the longest time because Steve Harvey had, apparently, you know, there was a wig that he had forever. But I'm sure before that, right, got the little topics or whatever. And they're like, I didn't know that they did that at every age. So, yeah, anyway, just trim me out.
Gameplay by any means, it doesn't matter, but unflattering, and it goes viral.
Yeah.
And, you know, he got done dirty. But you know what? It happens to the best of us. Like I said, someone tags you on Facebook and you're like, why? Because you look good in that. You look good. You didn't even give a crap about how I looked, and now everyone's making fun of me because you felt the need to post that. And there's one picture for me in particular, Rich, where it's haunted me for the past, how long have we been here in California now?
10 years.
For 10 years. Now, there's a random story.
So KD and LeBron need to get that hairspray. You know, there's these dudes trip me out because they have all the money in the world, right? They could have bought, even if for some reason these are the two dudes in the world that a hair transplant doesn't take, right? I know there's some people that it doesn't take, happens. These dudes have the money to have somebody come in and put the most realistic hairpiece of all time, never looked like it ever was ever even manufactured or anything. Every day, they could pay a personal assistant to walk around with them every day and make sure that it never gets out of place. They could be with them on the sidelines, right? Throw a little tent over them if they gotta adjust it. And these fools are walking around looking all stupid. That's one. Or two, why don't they shave their heads? They're freaking handsome black dudes with good shaped heads. Why don't they just shave their head? Jordan did it at like 25, right? Freaking Lamar Odom. There was an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians when Lamar Odom was dating Khloe or married to her or whatever. And he talks about when he first started shaving his head. He said he was 19. And he was like, he said, I don't know if somebody was like trimming up his hair or something. And he said he looked at one of his homies and he was like, hey, 19. Think about it. Think about where you were at when you were 19, right? I was still in those phases of growing the long hair and, you know, being stupid or whatever. Lamar Odom said at 19, he was looking at his hairline and he asked one of his homies, he's like, dog, he's like, am I bugging? Or is my hair thinning? And they're like, oh, yeah, bro, it's thinning a little bit. And he was like, he said, just boom, that was it. 19. Lamar Odom hasn't had hair since 19 because he started shaving that bad boy. Lamar Odom, obviously, I've never seen him with hair. I think he looks okay with the shaved head. I think LeBron will look good with a shaved head. You know, KD's a little skinny, a little goofy looking with them big ass boats. He got the size like 32 feet. But I think he would look decent with a shaved head. I think that would be the biggest thing to start this upcoming season, right? Game openers. LeBron James, shaved head. Ding! Or KD, right? KD coming out. KD looking all tall with his shaved head again. I think that's what those fools. I don't understand why they don't either, one, get a transplant if they haven't, two, have a personal assistant, or three, just shave that bad boy. Anyway, back to the show.
Our very first broadcast.
Sounds like a name drop too, by the way.
It does. But our very first broadcast, it's not bragging if it's true.
See, Andrew says that's why I shaved my head. Right? Right. You're like, okay, I'm still young enough to where this can be my style. Right? You're like, or you're like, if I grow it out, I'm going to have the Costanza. Right? And I'm not saying you, Andrew, because I mean, it could just be a little bit thin. You're like, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to shave it. Right? But I'm saying, like George on Seinfeld, I was watching an episode where freaking, and let me remind me to tell you about Kramer. Kramer mom. Okay, so there's an episode where Kramer goes, he asked George, he's like, oh, why don't you get some plugs? He's like, why do you want to walk around looking like that? And then he's like, you're a handsome guy. Just get something done about that. And the thing is it's true. It's like, okay, cool. Whatever. Hair plug, shave, whatever. It's like, I mean, this is 1994, right? Well, when Kramer's telling George about that. But it's just like, there's options, right? And it's just like, when it's to LeBron's, I mean, and I understand finances and stuff, right? Maybe you don't have the money for the hair transplant. You don't have money to fly to Turkey or whatever, right? You could shave it, cool. Or just go with the freaking Costanza. I mean, not to go with the Costanza. Shave it and be like Stone Cold, right? And I don't know why Stone Cold's my reference to that. But I just trip out with these dudes that have all the resources in the world. There's no reason for them to walk around looking like that.
Here in Los Angeles.
Oh, and then I said Seinfeld. So I look awful when my hair grows out. I don't know if you're asking or if you're saying I've never seen you with your hair grown out. You could look awesome, right? Turn awful into awesome, right? I don't know. Maybe you look awesome. But you know what? I actually have an update. So I know the last couple of shows we were talking about. Oh, you're telling me. Okay. The last couple of shows we were talking about movies, right? We started off with Charlie Sheen, and I haven't seen like any Charlie Sheen movie ever. So then last week we were talking about just 80 movies in general, right? And you guys mentioned Platoon, The Governor or something, the Get to the Chopper, all of these movies that I've never seen growing up. You want to know how much I am a product of my family? So I know some of the references from those movies or whatever, but I've never seen most of the movies you guys mentioned. So over the weekend, I'm at my mom's house and I'm telling her about some episode of Seinfeld. And she was like, oh yeah. She's like, I've never seen it. She's like, I know your dad used to watch it. She's like, I know you watch it. I've never seen it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, there's an episode I go that I think would be pretty cool. Throw it on. And because I was telling her a story, I was like, oh yeah, there, Kramer, blah, 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 blah. I feel like you ask 99% of humans do you know who Kramer is? They're like, yeah, They may not know Michael Richards, but if I showed you a picture and said, which one's Kramer, they'd be like, oh, the fucking tall guy with the weird hair, right? But so I am telling my mom this story, and I start the episode, and my mom goes, which one's Kramer? And I go, okay, people are over here like, how did you miss these movies? How did you miss Platoon? How did you miss Goonies? How did you miss E.T., right? And I'm like, I don't know, I just missed it. Then I visit my mom, and my mom's like, which one's Kramer? And I don't know if it's because, obviously, my daughter's 9, but obviously because I played it in my house all the time. The other day she said something, and I was like, you don't know the characters. And she was like, yeah, that's Kramer, that's George, that's Jerry. But I was just like, my daughter's 9. My mom is not 9. And she was like, which one is Kramer? That one, I just felt justified in not knowing all of the movies that I didn't know. Because I was like, I think we're just probably so with our own head up our ass in my family that we only know what we know. But that can go back to the reason why I can quote and recite anything from Boy Meets World, The Parkers, One-on-One, all of those shows, right? Wonder Years, all that good stuff from King of Queens. That's where my head was, right, during all that time.
Angeles was at Henry Winkler's house. Much like he said to Patrick Mahomes, you have a... He's going to try to save you.
Runner-ups? Okay,
yeah, I'm just going to save you the trip this weekend. The movie Him, a lot of people like Jordan Peele's movies. Yeah. But Rotten Tomatoes giving it 28% on the potato meter.
Some people are saying like, oh, you might not be smart enough to understand. When someone says you might not be smart enough to understand, I'm like, or it's just not a good movie.
I like Jordan Peele's movies. I like Marlon Wayans.
And Andrew, that's why I'm telling you.
Might be ass.
That's why I'm telling you, it's not an age thing because your son's 25. It is definitely a head up my own ass thing, Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Don't give a fuck about that. Let me fast forward. Audio. 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 Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
On Max
Oh,
and
I hit the
Radio,
freaking,
Covino and Rich for years.
Dang it,
So
I hit
we
the
actually
mute
work
button
for a
with my big ass
magazine.
finger. Sorry about
Who
that.
has magazines besides your dentist office?
Dude,
being on Maxim meant something. Being in Maxim meant something back in the day.
As we used to say, the,
Sorry
the
about that,
Jessica
guys.
trifecta on the map: Simpson, Alba, Peele, and all those hotties of the 2000s being on the cover of a men's magazine like a Maxim or Stuff or.
Was Britney Spears even 18 in that freaking Rolling Stone cover? I wonder. I think she was like 17 in that freaking thing. Even if she was like 18, I guess. I mean, it's legal, but still, it's kind of weird, right?
FHM.
That was a big deal, and it's just funny now that it goes in the Covino category of things that used to matter that don't.
Yeah, if you were in the Hot 100, ooh, you were on the rise.
That was a hot party. We used to go to those.
That meant
that was the
something.
shit back then.
And in the world of sports, Spotty, you came up with a good one. It used to mean something. Used to mean something. It sort of ties into the magazine stuff a little bit. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Gladly give it away when you were on the cover of the Wheaties box.
For real.
Yeah.
That was like, yo, you know Bruce Jenner was on the cover.
All right, let's see if we can find something, a little nugget after this.
What are you saying, bud?
He got eliminated.
No,
by
but you're
the way.
right. I'll give one more, and then we got to do our picks.
Corey Feldman does the cha-cha.
My
Fuck Corey Feldman. It's all about Topanga. All right. Well, I guess that's enough over promise. Let's go ahead and see what else we could talk about. I know we talked about the CRC earlier, but they were talking about, I don't know if it was during the Shoutouts where Rich mentioned Doug Ferrier, but I have the best Doug Ferrier moment. I don't want to say story because I don't know how good the story is, but I'll tell you by far, this is the best Doug Ferrier moment of the CRC. There we are, Cats Meow, karaoke night, right? Doug Ferrier, for some reason, we ended up chilling at the same table and whatever, having a good time. Dude is pretty gone, right? Well, I don't know if he puts his drink down at the table and then goes to dance or something or whatever. He disappears for some time. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, where's my drink? And I was like, I don't know, dog. I wasn't watching your drink. What the fuck am I, your woman? You know, like, come on now. And so he's like, and I go, oh, you know what? I guess this is where I fucked up because I go, there was some dude walking by. Maybe he took it thinking that you were done with it. So he tossed it out. And he goes, he's so drunk. And he goes, you know what? There's some, and at this point, I don't even think he's talking to his lady. I don't think he's talking to me. I think he's just kind of talking to himself. And he's like, I'll tell you what. There's some real assholes walking around here. And then he's like, fuck. Or he says some other things, right? And he's just like, yeah. He's like, leave for a minute, come back. There's some real assholes walking around here. And it was the funniest thing because the whole time he had been such a chill dude as far as the whole weekend or whatever. And just to hear that, it made me crack up because I was like, oh, anyway, anything you guys want to check on or catch before we bounce? They talked about gaming consoles. Rich won't get LASIK. He likes he likes the weekly or daily disposables. You know what? That's something that I need to get too, right? I have like 2 week disposables, and I just throw those. I throw those bitches on, and I don't take them off for like a month, and then I fucking just throw them away after that. Not good for my eyes, know that. But anyway, we'll end on this. John Mayer, Rich says, is a top 5 guitarist of all time. And I was like, Rich, what the hell does he know? I know Handsome Gabe chimed in, and Handsome Gabe talked about some stuff. But what the hell is this hard on that Rich has for making John Mayer one of the top guitarists of all time, or living, or whatever the hell his argument was? Because I love John Mayer, for one. 2, I think he is a badass guitarist. I think he gets down. There's a crossroads that he has with Keith Urban, where they have like 2 different genres or 2 different type of artists doing a crossroads, right? Where they, it was some show on like Palladia or something, one of those channels back in the day, but it was crossroads. He gets down. I'll tell you 100%. He shreds. That was the first time I saw that. I was like, oh, this dude's fucking bad. I love the guitar, right? I've been playing since I was like fucking 10, right? Not every day, but anyway. And then for Rich to say this, I mentioned Joe Bonamassa, I mentioned Steve Vai, a bunch of people, the guitar player from Avenged Sevenfold, right? Any of these people, Rich has never even, I guarantee you, listened to a track that they've done. And he's over here talking about John Mayer, and I'm like, Rich, that's like me talking about the top 5 dopest, or not even, I don't know, the top 5 best fitting weaves, right? I've never worn a weave, right? I'd call Levette. I'd call the homie Levette and be like, Levette, what weaves are dope? I've never, has Rich ever picked up a guitar? Has Rich ever explored more than what's on his radio when it comes to music? If he's talking about if Rich is talking about on the radio pop singers, him or the One Direction kids, okay, I'll give it to you, Rich. He shreds. He does. He gets down. But to say that he's one of the top 5 guitar players, that's crazy. I'd put him in maybe top 20. Right? Top 15, but top 5? Rich, think about how many 5 is. This is how many 5 is, right? Give me a high one of these. A high one of these is 5. I don't understand how you could say, that's like me saying the top 5 violin players of all time, or living, or the 2000s, or whatever. What the hell do I know about the violin? I know my sister played one, right? Just like Rich knows John Mayer plays one. So do I just say, you know what? I saw Gary Allan live, and the guitar player in his band, the violin player in Gary Allan's band was some black chick. Badass. She got down. Am I supposed to say she's one of the top 5 violin players? Right? Do that just, and the fact that I think what bothers me is I'm like, did I take the bait? Did he know that he's full of shit and he was just trying to rile people up? Because he did. I don't know why it bothered me so much, but this was one topic that bothered the hell out of me, because I was like, Rich, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, and Handsome Gabe mentioned some stuff. I take his opinion because Handsome Gabe has been playing guitar for 50 million years, right? Professionally, whatever. Cool, right? But I don't even think Handsome Gabe was fully on board. He was kind of like, I don't want to be disrespectful, I'm on his show, but he wasn't there like, oh, Rich, you're right. Yeah. He was just kind of, on the back burner, just kind of chilling. So that's how I got to end this one. Let me see. It's like me talking about the top 5 80s rappers or movies, right? I could talk about the top 5 funniest movies of the mid 2000s, right? When I was 17. But to me talk about freaking E.T. and Rambo and shit, come on now. That's just not my place. Anyway, after show but later, but Mayer's friend said he is the top 5. And that's all he needed. Again, one of John Mayer's friends, right? I could tell people that, whatever, any of you guys are the coolest fucking people in in, you know, Covino Rich listeners, whatever. I don't fucking know. Anyway, I don't know why I got so worked up about it again. But anyway, it's your boy D. After Show But Later, episode number 306. Don't forget After Show BL across all social media. And then 928-235-5285 if you want to text me, let me know what's up. Or tinyurl.com/TASBL. The After Show But Later. It's your boy D. I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.
Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke.